Have you ever noticed how parts of the sky almost seem to shimmer? Well, the ancient Greeks had an explanation for that. They called it the ether, or ether. It was air of the upper atmosphere, which was so pure that it was breathed by the gods, as opposed to the heavy, dirty stuff we mortals breathe down here. The ether was originally personified in the primordial deity Ether. However, he was somewhat replaced by a Titaness named Theia. Theia became the female equivalent of Ether. Ether exercising jurisdiction over the shimmering and pure air of the gods, but she was also so much more. Two of the oldest primordial deities in Greek mythology were Gaia and Uranus. These two timeless beings had 12 children, collectively called the Titans. Theia was one of these children, and perhaps the eldest of the 6 daughters according to some accounts. As a Titaness, Theia personified a sacred aspect of nature, in this case the ether. Considering that the ether is trapped between the sky and the world, this makes sense for a daughter of Uranus and Gaia. She eventually married her brother Hyperion, a titan of heavenly light, which also complements her association with shimmering sky. As we've mentioned, Theia was largely associated with the ether, but that was far from her only role in Greek mythology. Her name actually means sight, a reference to the unobstructed clearness of the pure skies as well as her wisdom. It's also worth noting that Greeks believed sight existed because of beams of light and that project from our eyes, and Theia was likely associated with that specific kind of light. The name is also a reference to the fact that Theia is prophetic, a gift she shares with her sisters. The connection between clarity of sight, wisdom, prophecy, and divinity is actually found all throughout Greek mythology. Since Theia embodies the shimmering of the sky, she was also associated with other things that glisten. In particular, the Greeks believed it was Theia who gave silver and gold their luminous qualities. This is actually why gold had intrinsic value to the Greeks. It was a divine reflection of Theia. Robert Graves also relates that later Theia is referred to as the cow-eyed Euryphysa, who gave birth to Helios in myths dating to classical antiquity. The main symbol of Theia is her eyes, because the Greeks believed that her eyes emitted a beam that allowed them to see. Her eyes were the most important to them. In artistic representations of the goddess, she is often shown with the sun or moon, but these would be better classified as symbols of her children. Theia married her brother Hyperion, Titan god of light, and together they gave birth to Helios the sun, Selene the moon, and Eos the dawn. Helios, Titan god of sun, dwelled in a golden palace located at the far east of the earth. He was traveling from the east to the west during daytime with his golden chariot, drawn by 4-winged horses, and was wearing a radiant circle or aureole of the sun. During nighttime, he descended into a golden cup which carried him back to his golden palace. When Apollo was born, Helios passed on his responsibilities to him. However, he was still the personification of the sun. Theia's daughter Selene was known as the Titan goddess of moon. She would also ride a chariot through the sky, pulled by winged horses, while wearing a golden cloak. She would eventually be replaced by Artemis. She fell in love with a mortal named Endymion. Zeus eventually granted them with the gift of immortality and eternal youth. Together, Endymion and Selene had 50 daughters, known as the Menai. They represent the 50-month lunar cycle of each Olympiad. However, he fell into a state of eternal slumber by Mount Latmos. Selene would come and visit every night. Selene is also associated with lunar elements such as lunacy, the calendar months, and the tides of the ocean. She had a child with Zeus named Pandia, the goddess of dew. Eos, Titan goddess of dawn, who rose each day in the morning from the edge of Oceanus to overcome mists and shadows of the night with her golden rays. She was married to her cousin Astraeus, Titan god of dusk. However, she had fallen under a curse from Aphrodite and became, like her sister Selene, obsessed with young mortal men. Finally, she had chosen Titaness, prince of Troy, to be her lover. She also asked Zeus for his mortality, but forgot to ask for eternal youth, and one day he shriveled up by old age and babbled for eternity. During the Titanomachy, Thea was probably neutral, just as were the other female titans, and so after the end of the 10-Year War, Thea would have gone unpunished.